shake that thing, and then paused. The butt.
Welcome to the Spencer Whiteout podcast. Rated R.
It's like we're avoiding the shark.
No, great turbo neck guy.
I'll give you a kiss. You give me your number.
That checked out a ton, dude. Tell me you felt.
We're Americans. We're the ones that are descendants from the 1776 musket-bearing motherfuckers.
Welcome back to the Spencer Whiteout podcast. This is episode 3. In this episode, we talk all about jellyfish, pop sockets, leather jackets, and wedgies. Brace yourself. It's about to get weird.
Well, what is this podcast rated, Spencer? That's what I want to know.
Rated R. Rated R. Rated R. This summer, Spencer Whiteout's podcast is still rated R.
Well, today we have Alex Vollmann.
Hello.
We have Tiffany Dawson.
Hello.
And we have the legend, Luke Reed.
Hey there.
So we got a story from Alex about a jellyfish.
Yes. Well, before I get into that, I have a little bit of kind of some background on where these next couple of stories are coming from.
Yep.
They are coming from the land down under known as Florida. I grew up in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And so there was one of those days where there's a tropical storm in town, and we all decide, we're going to go down to the beach and ride some of these waves. I am not much of a surfer myself, but I kind of like body surfing and stuff, like riding the waves like through and everything.
Poser surfing.
Poser surfing, sure. So yeah, there are these like huge, colossal waves, and like all the debris and all these things from like below the surface are being resurfaced as you're surfing with all this stuff.
Just swimming in filth.
Basically, but it's super fun. So it's like, let's just do this anyway. Like, it's fine. We'll just not think about it. It'll be good. And so I'm riding these waves, and there's a pinging sensation that just floods through my body. And it was like the most excruciating pain all up and down my chest. And I start like rushing out of the waves. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like that was not just some like algae or something, some debris
bad
in there.
algae, dude.
And I mean, of course, like with anybody's reaction to something like that, you're going to like try to touch it. So not only is like my torso completely like ripped up by this thing, my hands are now like stinging as well. And so, I'm like screaming and everything. And like my family's like kind of coming over and like, what do we do? What do we do? Do we like pee on you or something? Like, what's going to happen?
Is that an urban legend or is that actually real?
I've heard a couple different things, a couple different theories.
Because I feel
on
like
that.
somebody just came up with that, perpetuated that rumor just as like a sick joke.
Somebody just wanted to pee on somebody.
They're like, you know what really helps? If I pee on you right now.
But thank goodness a lifeguard came to my rescue with some vinegar, which actually helps. And he sprayed me down with this vinegar, and it's kind of bringing the swelling down a little bit. And I'm like, all right, I'm feeling a little bit better. And I look down, and I see not only was my chest all stung up, it was like perfectly in the shape of an L. Like an uppercase L, it's L for loser. So it was this man-o-war jellyfish that had stung me with
Man-o-war.
an L. So instead of like, syndrome with his like big S, it was L for loser.
Wow. Accidental participaysh.
Yes. So while I lived in Florida, I was a part of a football team as the camera guy. Didn't play any positions.
Not a hot stud.
Yeah, not a hot stud.
That's like worse than third string. You're like, I'm just the camera guy.
Not
It's
even the
below
water boy.
I
line.
wasn't even allowed on the bench. Is basically like the level that we're talking here. But, I was grateful for the job. I mean, I was like in high school, like just starting out in high school, like 9th grade or something like that. So I'm showing up to this game. Instead of going all the way around the fenced-in area that the whole like football like field is in, I'm like, I'll just hop the fence. But as I'm hopping the fence, for some reason, my pant leg gets caught in the top, and it's like razor sharp.
No.
And I mean, like, this isn't like a barbed wire fence or anything like that. It's just like a normal fence. And I mean, like, once again, like, kind of following that L theme, like, I got like a little L. Like, I mean, I don't know what was going on in my childhood with L's. It was just plaguing me or something. And so I had this little L flap in my pants, and I'm like, all right, great. Well, this is a really good start. And so I'm going out there, and at the time, I mean, nowadays, you can record something with your phone, and, you know, it'll look all right. Or, like, you could even use DSLR, like, we're talking like a little handheld camera. Cameras in those days were like huge, like over the shoulder, like bazooka things. Yeah. And so I've got this bazooka.
Was there like VHS tapes that you had to load in like extra magazines?
He had just gotten cards.
Taking fire.
So I've got the bazooka, and it's got this viewfinder thing.
So it goes all around both eyes.
Yeah,
much.
we'll say that. Yeah, totally. Like complete vision blocked and everything.
Your face goes directly
like I don't
into
even
the
know
back
what
of it.
time of day it is anymore.
You have
like,
the whole like hood that goes over.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, at times when it would rain, yes. So, you know, I'm there and I'm on the sidelines. The game's starting to go, and, you know, I'm getting some of these cool shots, like following the action. Like, okay, the ball, I see it, it's going. The guy's running, he caught it. The wide receiver, let's go. Like, oh, he got pummeled. All right, awesome. Let's go. You know, next play here. And in the middle of one of the plays, one of the guys starts coming a little closer. And I'm like, that guy's getting like a little bit bigger, like in this viewfinder. Like, I don't know exactly. They didn't have like the little objects in mirror are closer than they appear, like on this thing. But that's like how it was. This guy was even closer than I was seeing. And next thing you know, he gets taken down to the ground on the sideline and like rolls like a big, huge log like under my legs. And I just like eat it. And I see in slow motion, the camera, this bazooka, is just floating down toward the ground. Like, I'm trying to catch it with my hands.
It's
like,
worth
that's
more
still
than
not
your
enough. Yeah, it's worth more than my life. And this thing like falls, and that huge viewfinder just like splits apart.
Oh.
The camera wasn't actually broken, which was good. It was just like that viewfinder thing like dramatically had fallen
good.
apart. But the camera itself was like doing all right. Like, I think they probably had to like fix it up a little bit, but it wasn't like totaled or something.
Totaled.
Mm-hmm.
But the fun part about it is later when I got to edit this footage, there's also a camera that was up in the stands, high, far away, you know, from any danger, any impending danger that this football game could cause. And you could see my little head and this big, huge camera. And the moment the guy comes over, you just see my little head go, and I just disappear. I'm just gone. And so we ended up actually putting that in the highlight reel too, which is kind of fun.
That's awesome.
And speaking of football, I mean, with that, I actually got to tour a lot with those guys too. Like, if they ever had a game somewhere like out of town, I mean, like, everybody's in Florida, you know, playing other Florida teams and stuff. So there's an away game, and there's this team in the middle of nowhere with great team spirit. And we were playing them on their homecoming game. If I remember correctly, our team was kind of like kicking their butts.
Sharks finest.
And so they're like trying to get that team spirit back. And so in the middle of halftime, they turn on this funky music. Everyone's kind of dancing and stuff. And there's this announcer guy, and he says probably the most out of left field, ridiculous thing I've probably heard. Shake that thing. And then paused with the most awkward pause. And he clarified, the butt. We were like, we needed to hear that. Thank you very much. Shake that thing, the butt.
Meaning
in case you didn't
your
know.
gluteus.
Exactly.
And nothing
Gluteus
else.
to the
Nothing
maximus,
else.
dude.
That was probably his last day there.
Yeah,
They were like,
probably.
that was just too much, dude. Sorry.
Was
Can't
it
keep
like
you.
a high school kid, or was it like a grown
No,
adult?
this was a grown adult. He was on the mic. Like, he was the announcer guy that, like, the guy that at the game would be like, and they're down, all right, and on the one, and they're gonna
And
run the pass.
shake that thing. The butt.
Just an old guy trying to be cool.
Exactly.
Fell right on its face like you.
Yes. Perfect full circle moment there.
All right. Speaking of face to the ground, Tiffany does have a story for us.
Okay, so this is a story from back my college days, and there was a guy who was like, okay, so we have an activity if you guys want to join, but you have to agree without knowing what we're doing. And we were like, okay, well, what does this entail? And he said, well, it's not going to be anything illegal, but it will be fun and it could be a little dangerous.
Sounds legit.
Okay, so we agreed to it. For whatever reason, we were feeling risky. And we knew that there was a big group going and it was going to be local. And so we showed up at the dorm and then we all carpooled over, and it was like a couple streets over in La Mirada. This is like at night, so it's pitch black. And we get to the location and everybody gets out. And then the guy who's like kind of leading the whole group, he goes out and stands in the middle of the street to explain the activity that we're doing. And he pulls out of his pocket some of those fruit pies, you know, that you get from like the gas station. They're
The
like,
gross ones, the imitation pies.
they're like filled with gooey blueberry or strawberry or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, so he pulls out these fruit pies and then he goes, okay, so we're going to be playing this game called Game of Kings. He lays out the fruit pies down the middle of the road, like horizontally in a line.
Unwraps
them. It was kind of like, sorry, let me go back. It was kind of like an initiation thing into the group, I guess, which we didn't really know that, but he said, okay, so in order to like be in the group, you have to finish your pie first. The clincher was you couldn't start eating your fruit pie until it was nicked by the tire of a car. What? So we're just like waiting around for a car to come by, and until the car's tire like hits the pie,
or just
then,
fully runs over
or
it.
fully runs over it, you have to come.
Oh, no.
And then go face down on the ground and start eating the fruit pie
On your hands and knees. You can't use your hands.
Yeah, you can't use
Just-
your hands.
Just face.
You just have to put your face to the ground and eat it.
So what's the king part of this?
I don't really know.
Like
You
bow
just,
to the king, the car.
It's the
They
game of
just called it
kings.
Game of Kings to give it a cool name.
Okay.
So, yeah, you had to finish your pie, and then whoever finished first, I guess, got the title.
Did everyone finish?
I think so.
What?
I finished it.
Did
So
yours
the
Mine
game
get
was
was
run
going
like
on the
over?
nicked?
side.
Did yours get fully
Yeah,
run
it did.
over or
No,
nicked?
it got nicked. It was
Oh,
fully on
you're
the side.
so
So
fortunate.
actually,
So you had good placement then.
Yeah.
did we get to place our pies? I don't know. This was several years ago, but we might have gotten to place our pies.
Yeah, you get
If you
Place
did,
them
you're smart.
in a spot where you didn't think it was going to get fully like disintegrated.
so kind of
Right.
like right next to the double yellow line.
Yeah, or next to the white on the
Or
far
next
right
to the
side.
other side, yeah.
Were there
Yeah.
any girls that had to eat like a totally smashed pie and like lick it off the ground?
Probably. And then they,
Game of Kings.
they had like judges where they would come over and say, okay, you're good, or no, you got to keep going.
There were judges involved. Did you guys hear that?
Yeah.
Yeah, they had like a uniform and everything.
What?
Black
No, I'm
whistle,
kidding.
black turbo necks.
They're like holding up
white
the number.
wigs too.
They like card you, like yellow
Hammers.
card, red card, foul.
Yeah, foul.
That's the craziest game
That's
ever.
pretty crazy.
You like that?
And I love how grandiose the name is too.
Yeah.
Like,
Game of
Game
Kings.
of-
like it's just
Kings.
some random Chad that comes up with like a random game. He's like, well, we could put like, pies on the ground and make them eat them. What should we call this? The Game of Kings.
It makes me think
Maybe
of like
the Game of Gods.
Yeah.
it makes me think of like King's Cup,
Yeah.
which is also kind of a nasty game too.
All right, Tiffany, you got another story for us.
I have another story. Okay.
Yeah.
I was driving. Spencer's in the passenger seat, and we went to a drive-up pharmacy, and we pull up to the window, and the guy says, okay, what's the name? And we give him the information, and then he goes back, and then he comes back with like a little paper bag. And then he says, okay, it'll be this amount. And then Spencer hands me his card. So I hand him the ATM card, and then
He does his thing.
he does his thing, rings it up, hands me the receipt, and then he goes, okay, and here's your bag. And then I go, oh, is the card inside? And then he
Is
goes,
the card
yes.
in the bag? Yeah.
And then I hand the bag to Spencer,
You're like,
and
okay,
I go,
thank you.
check it.
Like, I do not believe you.
It just like came out. I don't know why. I was just like, oh, check it. We need to verify.
Okay, cool, you liar.
Well, this one has to do with OfferUp. Are y'all familiar with OfferUp?
Yes.
The selling app.
The
like
selling
Craigslist.
app where you sell and buy things. So I needed a 5 terabyte hard drive to kind of back some stuff up. And I found one that was great. And I set up the appointment to meet up with this guy. And we say, okay, let's go meet up at an Arco and get this done. And we pull up to the Arco and we park. And then some guy pulls up right next to us and parks. And I'm like, oh, that must be the guy. And he texts me,
I'm here.
Oh, okay.
so I say, okay, cool. So I get out of the car. I walk up to this guy's window. I knock on the window and I go, hello, hello. You got something for me? He shakes his head, scared. Like, oh, what? And I say, the hard drive, dude. And he goes,
No.
but that's a pretty good one. That's another one of those one sentence stories that now Tiffany and I will repeat. Like if somebody
Hello,
says hello,
hello.
we'll just be like, hello. Because that's how I said it to this guy.
Like a
Hello,
game show
hello.
announcer or something. hello. You're
Hello,
about
hello
to
there.
win a prize.
You're about to shake that thing.
the butt.
The butt.
All right. Pop socket.
Okay, so we're at the T-Mobile store. There was the girl who was working there behind the counter, and Spencer was just kind of like chatting, and then you look down at her.
No.
Oh,
I
you
was
didn't see her
looking. The girl was taking forever to set us up with the new phones. She's just
Okay.
on her iPad, typing away, and we're just chilling there for like 20 minutes, just
we're
standing
looking
around
around
the,
at what's
the
in the
T-Mobile.
store.
So we're looking around at things, thinking, oh, this is the most interesting thing going on right now. And I see all these pop sockets. Does everyone here know what a pop socket is?
I actually have one.
That's right. Okay, well, sorry, Alex. You're about to get very offended, dude.
Ooh. Thanks for the warning.
So we look at all the pop sockets on the shelf. I'm like flinging them, and I'm just like, ugh, like I gotta go wash my hands.
Disdain. You don't like him.
That's fair
It's
enough.
just not your thing. So then, he starts commenting to me about the pop sockets. Oh, I just hate those things. I hate how they look. I don't get them. I don't like the pop sockets. And then he goes, oh, man, if somebody had one of those, it's pretty much just like social suicide.
That's not dramatic at all.
But he like really exaggerated that term. And then the girl behind the counter kind of like scoffs at that. She's like, ugh. And Spencer looks up at her and he goes, do you have one of those? And she goes, no. And kind of like rolls her eyes. 10 seconds later, we look over and see her like pick up her phone with the pop socket on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
That's great.
You major disrespected her right there.
Yep.
You're like, it's like social suicide. Who needs additional grip on their phone?
It's kind of nice.
Alex.
There's also like a phone holder for your car.
Yeah, but that's
Doesn't it-
understandable.
It's useful.
That's totally different.
Doesn't
dude.
it like mess up your pants though? Like I feel like if I wear a pair of pants for long enough, I've got the imprint of my phone.
So now you have a
more so if
circle
you've got
imprint.
a whole knob on it.
It depends
People are
on your
gonna think you
perspective.
chew, that you have tobacco.
Right.
It's
Or
like the
it-
new
or it could be
version
a
of
badge
that.
of honor.
Maybe.
All right, leather jacket repulsion. Oh my gosh,
Respect.
Repulsion.
I'm having some of your gin.
All right. Does anybody have a wild guess as to what this story could be?
It's probably social suicide
Yeah.
in
well,
jacket form.
It was. Okay. You know how you pull up to a parking space? And
No.
In a
park?
car.
And then you kind of look over, you kind of scope things out, and you just kind of look around. And then I see this guy get out of the car. And at this point in my life, I did not have a leather jacket. So I was really, really, really on the hunt to find the one
That's when you see things the most too.
when you're
When you're looking for them. Like if there's like a car that you've been like looking to buy, like that is the
You
only
just see it
car on the
everywhere.
road
Dang it,
now.
everybody has one.
Right.
Yeah.
But me.
Exactly.
Yep. And so this guy had a leather jacket and he steps out of the car. And mind you, I only see him from the waist up. Okay. And I'm thinking, that guy looks pretty cool. Like, I kind of want a leather jacket and maybe I could be like that guy someday, be pretty cool. Right. And then he walks around the corner of his car. I see his lower half. He's wearing PJ pants, Crocs, and he starts uncontrollably hucking a loogie.
That is was the coolest guy.
I know, I was disgusted, dude. You do not deserve to wear that leather jacket.
Shots fired.
I was disgusted. It was an
Apparently
insult
so
to
was
leather.
he.
Well, he clearly didn't earn it himself. He must have taken it from a real one.
Right.
Maybe in combat. Perhaps
Yeah.
I've killed the Jedi and took one from him.
You know, I think that was probably a pleather jacket.
It
Yeah,
must have
leather
been.
It must have been.
It just
Only
doesn't
guys
make
like
any other
that can
sense.
get one like that. That's the
Yeah.
closest you can get to a leather jacket.
History class airdrop, quotation marks, USA Eagle. Here we go, baby. Oh, man. I'm with Patrick Wheeler. Shout out Patty. And we're in like a general ed history class. This one happened to be extremely boring. And so we just sit there and basically at this point, you kind of do whatever you can to make class interesting. We had kind of, at this point, I think it was 2015, we kind of just discovered that airdrop was really the way of the future. And it was going to be the thing that would entertain us for years to come. And so Patrick found this photo of a humanoid eagle. It was a man, a super muscular man with an eagle head coming out, and he was holding this American flag. And so we turned our Bluetooths on while this lady's teaching.
Blue teeth.
We turn our blue teeth on while this lady's teaching.
Like a
and
grill?
we start airdropping this photo around to the different people in class, right? We look
Whoever
around and we
is
see,
on.
yeah, whoever's on airdrop. We see a few people snickering. You know, we're trying to keep it cool, right? And I keep sending it to this girl named Ashley, and it keeps being declined. I'm like, no, you need to accept this.
How many
I
times?
keep sending it. How many times? I said
Yeah,
as
how many
many
times?
times as it takes.
Okay.
I'm going to keep sending this. I send it like 5 times over and over. Decline, decline, decline. And then all of a sudden, teacher looks over at me and goes,
Spencer, are you trying to send me something?
Yes.
I was so off guard because I did not know my teacher's name was Ashley. I had no idea she was on airdrop at the time. She didn't give me any clues as I
Because
didn't
she goes
see,
by like Professor whatever.
right.
Yeah.
And I didn't see her pushing the button, declining, but I guess she was while she was teaching.
That's
She
pretty
says,
stealthy.
she's like,
Spencer, are you trying to send me something?
everyone looks over at me. Luckily, it was a history class, and I go, "Oh yeah, it was an eagle picture because it's history class." And she's like, "Oh,"
Okay.
and then keeps going. All right, we have another airdrop story. Warp Tour airdrop.
Oh, yes. I remember.
Maybe you should talk about Macaulay Culkin as well. Or was it Macaulay Culkin or Nick Cage? It was both.
It was both.
What?
Yeah. We partied with them on a Warp Tour. No.
Oh, I was like,
No.
what?
Okay, so
No
this was
way.
Yeah,
And why
is
would they
the
even
coolest.
be rolling together? Like
Yeah,
Nicolas
together.
Cage and
Biffles, bro.
Macaulay Culkin. Wow.
So this was the last year that Warp Tour existed.
2018.
And we had actually just finished Space Waves and decided to go to Warp Tour like the next day after coming back, because why not? And so we went to Warp Tour and it was really fun. It was my first Warp Tour ever going. So there was this one booth that had a t-shirt and it had a giant picture of Nicolas Cage's face, but he looks like totally just like blah. And then he has these huge gauges in his ears and it says Nick Gage.
Yes.
I thought that was hilarious.
Just perfect for that
Yeah.
demographic.
Amen.
Yeah. And then there was another t-shirt that I saw that somebody was actually wearing. It wasn't for sale. So they had already purchased the shirt, but it had a huge picture of Macaulay Culkin's face. And this isn't like Home Alone Macaulay Culkin. This is like
drug addict eating pizza off his chest.
nastiness. Just his face was like 2 feet across. Takes up your whole body, like his face. Nasty. Why would somebody wear that shirt?
I don't know.
I honestly
no
want to get
lettering,
one of
no
those.
verbiage, no
nothing.
words,
Nothing,
no
just
nothing.
his face.
It's just like somebody paid top dollar to rep Macaulay Culkin in his heroin phase.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Solid
Gross.
life choice.
But then in between bands, we're kind of waiting and we see this huge tarp covering, whatever you call it, shade.
Tarp?
We go
Easy Up?
lay out under the Easy Up in the shade, and same kind of thing. It's like, well, what is there to do while we're laying around in here?
Yeah, so we're kind of people watching. and trying to entertain ourselves in between the shows that we want to go see. Okay, so we're people watching. Sorry, the mental picture just came in my mind. And
excited.
We're looking around, just like seeing who's around. And there's some pretty interesting looking people at Warped Tour. You know, you see all kinds of people.
All the crazies come out.
And then there's this girl who's laying on the ground and from behind, and she's, how would you describe it?
Fishnet tights, shortest shorts you've ever seen, and wedgie.
Yeah, major wedgie. Like, she should not have been wearing what she was wearing. Spencer decides to snap a picture and airdrop that to whoever is around. And so we're kind of hoping that either she does have her airdrop on or she doesn't, one of the two.
Either way, it'll be amazing.
Either way, it would be amazing. And Spencer starts airdropping that photo, and some people declined, but some people accepted it.
Most people accepted it from what I remember.
Wow.
I think we got some dirty
Disgusting.
looks,
Yeah,
too.
I remember because I
And then
remember
we
it was
ended up
so
moving,
funny
but-
just seeing people perking up, looking
Looking
around,
around.
like, where's this coming from? Who is this?
Did anybody like tell her? Like show their phone. Look at what's going on. What do you think would have happened if you inadvertently sent it to her?
Oh man, I don't
don't
even know, dude.
You think she would have picked her wedgie out, or do you think she would have just hiked those baby up higher?
Take a picture of this.
Outro. If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe, leave a review. 5 stars is a power play. You already know. Follow me on Instagram at Spencer Whiteout so you can stay up to date. Stay tuned, stay hyped. That's a wrap.
Inserting exclusive audio recording from the vault.
Yeah, Tim, Caden's gonna tell us a story again.
Okay, so I wake up at like 2, 3 in the morning, and I like feel something really weird, and so I'm like half asleep, and so I just grab whatever it is and put it on my bedside table thing, and I was like whatever, and I just went back to sleep because I was like super tired. And so I wake up, and I'm like, oh, what was that? And I just looking at this yellow stuff all over me. And I look over on my table, and the banana is melted, rotted all over my table. My sheets are covered in banana. And so like I was texting everyone. I was like, who did this? And then Joey was like, oh, it was Ray. And I saw Ray, and he was laughing. He was like, dude, that was so funny. And I was like, you know, it got mushed all over my bed. And he was like, wait, what? I was like, yeah, what did you think was gonna happen?
That sounds like
he was like, well, I just put it on your arm, and then I came back an hour later and it was still there, so I just figured I would leave it. And I was like, no.
I can't believe you rolled over, just smushed it around.
Yeah. I'm sorry I don't sleep.
I don't know if that's a I'm sorry I don't have sleep paralysis, right?
You know Max puts apples in John's pillowcase.
John Bridges? Yeah, how often?
He just puts apples in there all the time. He started it last semester. Lance said that he gets so pissed off.
And that's it.